With us now is Jean Seroka, Executive Director for the Port of Los Angeles. Jean, it's great to see you again. How is your port preparing for the July 9th deadline and this August 1st return of high tariffs that Trump is teasing?
Now, it could be bumpy once again, Brianna. Good to see you. As you know, our May volume was down 19% compared to April. We started off June pretty slow. Back half of the month, we put together a couple of really good weeks. So the cargo is flowing in ahead of that self-imposed deadline where many folks thought these tariffs could shoot up. Now we're back to the simulation program of what to do, from whom to buy, and when to start.
Has the port kind of gotten back to regular volume since the tariff chaos of earlier this year? What has the kind of compounding effect been of all this herky-jerkiness?
Yeah, if you combine May and June, Brianna, we're down about 4% compared to the 5-year average. Made a good recovery in the last couple of weeks to get inventory through the system. Dock workers and truckers back on the job, which is so important to us. But according to our forecast, we're going to start to see a little bit of a dip coming in the next few weeks.
So tell us what this means for, you've got, of course, the port workers, right? But you also have truck drivers. You have so many kind of cascading employees coming off of this. How is it affecting them, and what could this upcoming deadline mean?
Oh, it's been up and down, Brianna. Just to give you an example, in the second half of May, after many importers slammed on the brakes because those tariffs were so high, for every 2 dock workers that went into the hiring hall looking for a job, 1 went home without. And that's what we're going to be seeing. That cargo flow has an immediate impact on the people that physically move the boxes, the longshoremen and women, the marine clerks, the foremen, as well as the truck drivers. And those drivers are hauling about 60 to 70% of the cargo that they did leading up to that tariff announcement in April. Now, these past 2 weeks, they've been really hustling the cargo in and out of the port. But with this expected drop off that we'll see after tariffs are hiked again, it'll probably be a similar story.
So the White House press secretary, Jean, said last week, for countries that continue to negotiate, the deadline is not critical. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said he thinks that negotiations could be wrapped up by Labor Day. But then the president overnight says countries would not really be afforded any flexibility with the tariff deadline. They'll start to pay on August 1st. When, you were talking to people who are planning, when you're planning, trying to understand how things are going to affect the port or how companies who use the port are doing their own plans, what are you looking at? What are they looking at? Is it what's coming from the administration, or is it very specifically what the president says? What information are you leaning on?
Many just don't know, Brianna. And as we've talked about before, there have been more than 70 announcements on trade and tariffs, policy in general since January. And just as you stated, over 3 new sound bites of information, they're going in disparate directions as well. So for the importer and exporter, they're trying to keep their nose to the ground, make sure that they have as much information as possible to make the best decision that they can, given the information that they have. On the export side of our business, we're down 6 consecutive months because of retaliatory tariffs and trade partnerships that are now taking shape around the world without us.
The last time the president promised steep tariffs, we saw a lot of shipping stopped in its tracks. That was your daily reality. We saw the markets dive. Markets only recovered when Trump lowered and paused some tariffs. Do you think that countries take the new threats seriously?
Well, I think they have to. And some who are really close to the situation see it as an opportunity to get people to the table, to have more in-depth discussions. Time's against us right now. And if we're not going to get these deals done quickly, we have to have a line of sight for businesses in general so they know how to invest. We're at this critical time, as you know, Brianna, for getting cargo in here for the all-important retail year-end holidays. I still think that from what I've seen so far, we'll have less choice on the shelves, possibly higher prices, and fewer selections, because retailers aren't going to buy a wide variety of products right now and have to discount them at the end of the holiday season. They're going to be much more selective in what they bring in and put on those shelves.
Gene, Seroka, thank you for joining us, and a happy 4th to you.
Happy 4th, Brianna.